points. But then we'll start to take this race just that little bit more seriously, Phil, as we think about which of the sprinters are at the full amount of their potential, because the rumors are flying around the bunch of all the injuries and illnesses that everybody seems to be going to. Another rider who is dropping back to the team, the race doctor at the moment, is Nick Noyens, a teammate of Bradley Wiggins. He too has spent the last few kilometers riding alongside the race doctor's car. So a lot of riders, I think, suffering because of the very difficult day yesterday. Although it wasn't a big mountain stage yesterday, I think everybody really leaving a lot of energy on those roads, because they were tough roads. As the riders were saying yesterday, those were roads that were very lumpy, very sticky and heavy.
Very, very difficult conditions yesterday. Wiggins is looking extremely tired here. He's on a slight drag and he's concentrating, but I think he's feeling the pace. Well, he should be, I suppose. He broke away after 2 kilometers. We're now only 67 kilometers from the finish. The gap, funnily enough, the gap has gone up again. So the peloton themselves have shut down after that sprint. It's gone out to 4:21, 4:25. It's amazing, but they're going to really hurt him out here today. One thing's for sure, he will take the red number into the Alps tomorrow, because there's no way he cannot be voted the most aggressive rider of the day today. .4:33 as we look here at the back of Bradley Wiggins. Next target for him is the 4th category climb at 61 kilometers to go. 4:25, that board was telling us just then. He doesn't even look at it. He knows. Take it away. He doesn't want to see it. It's gone up, though. It's gone up from 3:36. So it is quite amazing. He slows down. The peloton slows down. You'd think they were in communication. But for Wiggins, it could still be a while out front yet, and the next 4th category hill could even be his too. We'll take a break, come back and enjoy the sun of France.
The Cervelo SLC SL is a pure breakaway machine. Learn more and enter to win this Cervelo Dream Bike at competitivecyclist.com.
Don't worry about those guys.
I am just so sick of this.
Dude, what do you expect? You went with Geico.com. What, to save some money?
It's my life, okay?
Just a little loyalty would be nice, that's all.
What? Having Geico makes me less of a caveman?
Tina's here. We're getting back together.
Hey, give us a minute.
Geico.com. So easy, a caveman can do it.
Announcing an exciting breakthrough in automotive technology. Introducing ZNet, only at AutoZone. ZNet gives every AutoZoner the power to find you the right part faster, along with diagrams, photos, and complete instructions. So you'll get the job done right the first time, every time. Come in for a test drive today. ZNet, available only when you get in the zone. AutoZone.
People are smart. And when it comes to home loans, they don't want smoke and mirrors. They want a smart rate, like our 30-year fixed mortgage around 6 1/8%. Call 1-800-DITEC-1 now to get a loan without being sawed in half. DITEC. People are smart.
Welcome to a game where love means nothing and innovation is everything. Co-ed matches, coaches on the court, super tiebreakers, and superstars from around the world. World Team Tennis on Versus. Pete Sampras and the Breakers take on Anna Kournikova's Capitals. Sunday at 11:30 on Versus.
The Tour de France, Stage 7, live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. on Versus. The real drama continues.
Who wants to be stranded with a flat tire? Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry. Well, I guess I'll be on my way.
Bridgestone, run flat tires.
Bridgestone.
I mean, if you're serious about wanting to find someone special in your life.
There were just so many little things that we had in common.
She's made a world of a difference.
It really works. And I've told friends of mine, don't do the other, do eHarmony.
eHarmony.com.
At Ruby Tuesday, great meals are a matter of course. First course, picked fresh. Second course, grilled to perfection. Third course, sweet moments with friends. Starting at $9.99. Petite sirloin, chicken fresco, Ruby Tuesday.
Welcome back as we pan across yet another beautiful Roman church here. This is St. Martin's in the town of Chapez, with 68 kilometres still to run to the end of today's stage of the Tour de France, and still with Bradley Wiggins in front. I think it'll all be a little bit different tomorrow, so let me remind you straight away, you must be on live with us tomorrow. We'll be on live with you an hour earlier than normal, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we'll follow that, of course, with our special evening programme at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. But tomorrow we go into the Alps, Le Grand Bornand, and at the end of a long day tomorrow, it will be the climb of the Col de la Colombière. Now, just how is Andreas Kloden and how is Vinokurov, and will Levi Leipheimer suddenly surge to the front? It's going to be a great day. Right now, it is a great day. It's a wonderful day. Blue skies, never a cloud all day. The wind is still drifting at between 6 and 8 miles an hour, just gently across the field. They have slowed down, so too has Bradley Wiggins, so the gap is going up, actually. We've gone out now to over 5 minutes. It's amazing, but that's the way it is just now. He's smiling at cameras there. Philippe Gilbert giving us a little smile, Paul. It's uncanny how Bradley Wiggins, I think, would like to surrender, but when he slows down, the field slows down. It's almost as if they have some way of talking to each other, but I really don't think they have. Andreas Kloden, number 196 here. I think he's having a horrible day today, but at least he's got himself back into the bunch.
Well, just alongside him was 191 Alexander Vinokurov, whose legs actually seem to be turning that little bit easier now. Probably happy that they've turned off the pressure at the front end of the main field. A good long ride like this may well ride all of the cuts and bruises out of Alexander Vinokurov, and he's fairly lucky, I suppose, really, Phil, that he's got a flat stage to try and get all of those wounds on the healing process before he goes into the mountains for the first time.
It's a very welcome day for them today. They must feel very stiff. The trouble is, it's usually 48 hours after the problem when you really start to hurt, and that's tomorrow. And who knows what will happen tomorrow. But the big favourites for the Tour de France, those that haven't had problems, are going to test themselves tomorrow. Michael Rogers, Cadel Evans, Levi Leipheimer, Carlos Sastre, Frank Schleck. I think these are the names we'll see move to the front. And will Alexander Vinokurov and Andreas Kloden be able to move with them, especially when the attacks are sure to come on the climb of the Col de la Colombière? That's all tomorrow. Today they're trying to conserve their energy, and that's why there's always that little chance that Bradley Wiggins will stay away. It is a very slight one. He could have done with a couple of more guys up there, but there's no doubt he was down to 3:36. He's now up again to 5 minutes and 8 seconds. We are just over 1.5 kilometers from the top of the Col de Brancion, and a few more points, but more importantly, a few more euros in the Cofidis bank account.
Absolutely, that's the important thing about a long escapade like this. And you can see a lot of Belgians have turned out today, because you can see the name Tom written all along the road. A lot of Flemish people come out to use the Tour de France as an integral part of their holiday. I did notice at the front end of the main field, though, Axel Merckx and T-Mobile were starting to make themselves pretty much present. And I think they will, as you say, Phil, be looking after Michael Rogers tomorrow, who, unlike Alexander Vinokurov and Andreas Kloden, has had a fairly easy ride over this first week of the Tour.
Yes, they have, and then it all went a bit wrong for them in the descents and ups and downs of yesterday's journey. But here he is looking as though he's catching the heat of the day now. I'm not surprised in the least, but he's putting on a little bit of pressure on this climb. Fourth category, yes, but it's not a long way uphill. He's still a kilometre to go to the summit, and he's climbing it at around about 15 miles an hour. That's pretty quick to go uphill, believe me.
Just looking at the main field again, it looks as if they've started to pick up the pace once more. That's probably, sadly, Bradley Wiggins' teammates on the front, because obviously Sylvain Chavanel wants to keep chipping away at that King of the Mountains classification. He's got himself some points on the first climb. He was second over the climb of the Grand Mont. And probably he would very much like the 2 points that are still available for the main field when they get to the climb of Brancion. And you never know, the more points he picks up on these small climbs, he could keep that King of the Mountains jersey for a couple of days, although there's a lot of points once we start to get into the big mountains in the Alps.
And that, for that very reason, is why he wants as many of these small mountain points as he can get to try and give himself a buffer. He's never in his wildest dreams thought he would cross the mountain summits with the real climbers of the Tour de France. But it's not been unknown to win this race overall in the King of the Mountain section by nipping away at the small climbs and putting a lot of points away in the bank. So I think we will see a sprint behind Bradley, and his teammates should be involved in it. Nice crowd on the climb here of the Col Brancion, and all shouting Bradley Wiggins' name today.
And nice, I think, for Bradley Wiggins to have a little bit of shade on what has been the hottest day of the Tour so far, just upping his gear a bit, getting out of the saddle. This, I think, Phil, a little bit more just to stretch the legs and the hamstrings after having been sat in the same position for an awful long time. Here he comes up to the summit of the climb, and he's going to get himself maximum points there. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not Sylvain Chavanel has a crack at trying to get himself second place when they arrive here in about 5.5 minutes' time.
All right, well, he's nearly up at the summit now as the crowd, plenty of them. We've seen the Belgian flags Paul has mentioned there. They're having their holidays in the Alps. Little hors d'oeuvre for them here before they go up into the mountains for a few days to watch the riders in action. There it is. That's another couple of points in the bank for Bradley, but more importantly, a few euros as well. So Bradley Wiggins is now doing very nicely, thank you. Let's have a look at the peloton here. Well, they're still a little way down the road. They're 5 minutes behind. And the Cofidis boys have got control of the front on the left-hand side of the road. We should see a sprint from that peloton, just like we did in the green jersey. And just like we did in the green jersey, we'll take a quick break. Rejoin us for the sprint. See you in a moment.
Sono Paolo Bettini, sono campione del mondo e campione olimpico. Chiedo il massimo dalla mia bicicletta. Voglio che sia rigida, leggera, bella e precisa, ma più di tutto che sia veloce. Questa è la mia bicicletta. I am Specialized.
Where will you live after a house fire? One call to Farmers Help Point could fix that. Farmers Help Point. Sanity makes a comeback.
How high can a cyclist get? 9,088 feet. The Tour climbs the Alps, ascending 90 miles of pure agony. It's where legends are made and confidence destroyed. More suffering, more pain, more trauma. The Tour de France. Stage 7 live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. Only on Versus.
Hey.
Attention Northern Colorado sales professionals. Do you have the creativity and the marketing smarts to help develop successful advertising solutions? Do you have a track record that shows you are a winner? If we just described you, you may be one step away from your best career move. Comcast Spotlight is looking for sales professionals to join our great company.
Are you a sales superstar looking to add some zip into your career? Then send your resume to Comcast Spotlight in Fort Collins today.
Or call David McGrath at 970-493-5100 and get an appointment.
All new episodes of the original series Tap Out, Wednesdays beginning August 1st on Versus.
Welcome back. Brad Wiggins here, pedaling nice, and he heads down into town. He's just over the top of the climb here at Brancion. And now he's just trying to get on. So he looks as though he's actually revitalized himself a little bit here, because he's riding very, very quickly at the moment. And he's gone very, very wide on that corner. I have to say, it looked quite a normal bend. I don't know what on earth he was doing swinging wide there. Maybe the shadows on the road threw his line out a little bit. Let's see how the peloton deal with that. They're still going up, of course, on the other side of the climb. As we try to locate them, we're looking at the Chateau de Briancion, and somewhere down there we shall pick up the peloton. It's under renovation. Looks as though it needs it as well. Well, it can't be long now before our camera pulls off this wonderful old chateau at Brancion and gets on downstairs and starts to look for the peloton. 300 years, Brancion was the impregnable and invincible bastion of the family of the same name, and it began with the fighters and pillagers. They fought them all off since the 12th century. Oh, I bet you that could tell us a bit of history or two, Paul, but has it seen the Tour de France before?
Well, I'm not sure that it has seen the Tour de France before, as we look at Bradley Wiggins here. He's actually extended his advantage over the last couple of kilometres, but I'm sure that once the main field have gone over the climb of the Brancion there, Phil, will start to see them accelerate a fraction, especially as the road starts to be just that little bit flatter. Now, there's a race here, and the polka dot jersey may well have been caught out.
And this looks as though Schuler here has got on the front too. Well, he scored early on from Barlow. They've lost a man today, but the polka dot jersey of Sylvain Chavanel waiting as long as he can here. You'd think there's a huge sprint. It's only for 2 points in the King of the Mountains, but these riders are scrapping for everything. And Garate on the left of our picture is going to spoil the party here. I don't think Chavanel has got it. We need to see where the line is. Garate and Chavanel, I think.
Well, Garate got it just ahead of Chavanel, who picked himself up another single point, but that would have hurt him just a fraction there, and he doesn't have to worry too much. He can take a back seat now, because once they've gone over the summit of this climb of the Brancion, it's a slight downhill for about 1.5 kilometres, and then it's a pretty much flat run into the town of Bourg-en-Bresse.
Well, Juan Manuel Garate on Tom Bona's quick-step team, his former champion of Spain. I've got no idea why he was doing that. He's not in the competition until today, and he did the same at the first mountain sprint, where Chavanel got the better of him. Then they looked at each other and laughed. I haven't worked that one out, but anyway, he's spoilt the party a little bit for Chavanel, who got only 1 point, but even so, he's moved away with 3 points today, and Bradley Wiggins doing a good job in stopping anybody else getting the points up front. And he's coming down because of the sprint. He's immediately dropped back to 5 minutes 10 seconds or so now. Now this will be interesting, Paul. These riders on the descent down to that sharp right-hand turn now. Confirmation, by the way, of the order we saw it. Wiggins, Garate did pip Chavanel on the line. But that right-hand corner that almost took Bradley Wiggins out, let's see if the peloton make the same mistake.
Well, they have no idea of a lot of the route that they're going to face. Most of the big major stars will check out many of the big mountain climbs, but they won't check out stages like this. So every now and again you will get a corner which throws a curveball at you, and if you don't go round at the right trajectory, you can find yourself coming unstuck. They're into the town now where that corner is, and hopefully they're going to pick themselves around safely, because for me, I think we've had quite enough crashes, Phil, for the first week of this race.
Yes, they've all been rather what we call silly crashes, not been major crank-ups. They've just been people falling off it, and ones and twos in the peloton, and as a result, broken bones. And there's the corner from the helicopter. It looks as though they've got a better line on it. It didn't look a bad bend, but Wiggins seemed to take it very wide. But they've taken it very well. That's the one, yeah. And it's the shadow, I think, that threw Wiggins off his line. But these boys are coming round. Less urgency for them. Marteilles-les-Brancions. Chateau, Anthony Chateau on the front now for Crédit Agricole. So Torhushoff has put a man in the chase. And Milram have got a man in the chase. That's for Zabel. They've got a man in the chase for Tom Bonan. And T-Mobile, the boys in pink, well, they put men in the chase now. And I hope that's for Mark Cavendish.
Well, Mark Cavendish, baptism of fire, I suppose, for his first attempt at the Tour de France. First 2 days on the open road, first 2 crashes he was involved in. But since then, I think he's learned to enjoy the Tour. We're hearing that he's probably not going to ride very much longer than up to the rest day, once his first little taste of the mountains. And I can warn him in advance, he's going to get a massive shock on the Sunday when he starts to see the big climbs like the Courmet de Roselon.
That's a hard climb.
It's a big chance for him today to try and get something he's dreamed of. He's had a dream start, really, Phil, as a professional bike rider, because he's won 6 races so far this season. If he can add a stage victory to the Tour de France, to his credit, that would be phenomenal.
It would be, or whichever way you think about it, though, this week will be a valuable week in the maturity of Mark Cavendish, because now he is ridden in the biggest bike race in the world, and he'll never be the same again now. He knows what it's all about, and I think when he goes away from this race, he'll be winning bike races again in Europe. And he's only 22, so he's got at least another 15 years ahead of him.
He's certainly got plenty of years ahead of him as a sprinter. He really turned professional probably 2 years before he thought he was capable of doing. And I don't think he ever thought he'd be riding the Tour de France in 2007. In his wildest dreams, he thought he might be able to participate in 2009. But I think because of the success that he showed this year on the continental circuit, and the fact that the Tour de France was starting in London, T-Mobile made the brave decision to put him in the race for the first 10 or 12 days.
Yep, and didn't quite work out yet, but he's had a couple of falls in the run-ins to the finish. He's had a couple of top 10 finishes as well. The face of pain now as we switch back up to Bradley Wiggins here. Cap started to return, 4:52. Wiggins, I think, is hurting a bit now. He's still got 55 kilometers to go. There's no more prizes for 17 more kilometers, and it'll be the last sprint of the day when he gets there. But I'm not sure he wants to be up here by the time we get there. This is a long, long day for Bradley Wiggins in the heat of the day, the strength sapping of the sun. And he wants to have a word with Bernard Kilfin now, find out what's happening.
Well, I think he's looking for more water to take on board as well. The main field are starting to pick up the pace as we see the Swiss supporters turning out here this afternoon, maybe for Gregory Rast.
Maybe for Fabian Cancellara.
Maybe for Fabian Cancellara, who has had a magnificent start since the prologue victory in London. And although many of us predicted he was going to lose that lead yesterday, he's certainly done an excellent job. He got himself over the big second category climb. And look at the way that main field now, Phil, is starting to snake down these valleys. Down towards the end of the valley there is the city of Bourg-en-Bresse, and that's where they're all trying to get themselves to quite rapidly now.
They're moving now. The chase is on again. Long, thin line as the wind pushes them over. It gently rolls off the vineyards here. You get a nice view of the valley here and how they build the vines on the great soil that they bounce here up the slopes. That's where we are. This is where they're coming to. This is Bourg-en-Bresse, the Tour de France, heading into town very soon.
Saab was founded by 16 aircraft engineers. Their spirit lives on in the turbocharged 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. With all the storage space you need, an estimated 30 miles per gallon, and a starting price under $29,000, you're closer to owning a jet than you think. Saab, born from jets. Log on to Versus.com/fly to the finish for your chance to win a 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi and a new Cervelo bike.
The nickel was started.
Well, cash rewards have restrictions. See, this is an incisor, not a molar. Plus, there's a 7-tooth minimum before the payouts get progressively larger. Additional terms and conditions may apply. Cashback is only applicable for deciduous teeth lacking decay or...
I'm confused.
Yeah, I know.
Is this how your cash rewards card treats you? Introducing No Hassle Cash Rewards. Earn cash on every purchase, everywhere, plus a 25% annual bonus.
What's in your wallet?
With 18 unique Star motorcycles, there's no limit to how far you can go. We build it. You make it your own. Exclusively at your Yamaha dealer. Now get payments from $69 a month plus up to $1,000 cash back.
How high can a cyclist get? 9,088 feet. The Tour climbs the Alps, ascending 90 miles of pure agony. It's where legends are made and confidence destroyed. More suffering, more pain, more drama. The Tour de France, Stage 7 live tomorrow, 7:30 a.m. only on Versus.
As technology advances, the world is booming with new challenges, but also with new opportunities. The field of criminal justice has benefited from many advances in technology, and new jobs are emerging. Introducing the ITT Technical Institute School of Criminal Justice. At ITT Tech, you can now earn a degree in criminal justice. We teach the fundamentals of the criminal justice system and can help you develop the skills to respond to and prevent crime. The world of opportunities is yours to explore. At ITT Tech, we know that while technology presents new and exciting possibilities every day, it's the people behind it who matter most. ITT Technical Institute School of Criminal Justice, education for the future. To find out more, call 1-800-488-3116 or visit us on the web.
Welcome back. No, here we are. Look at the back of the race here now, because we now have the red number of the man who got the most aggressive rider yesterday, and that's a teammate of Bradley Wiggins, Sylvain Chavanel, now the leader of the King of the Mountains, and keeping it today. That red number will be on the back of his partner Wiggins tomorrow, because he's been the lead all day. 5:05. He's looking very tired, but he's pushing on. Just over 30 miles to go. There's the peloton. It's not a flat road, even when there's no prizes at the top of the climbs today, because they're rolling around the hillsides of these beautiful vineyards. The life at the back of the team car, that's preoccupying them again, Paul. 5 minutes plus still for Bradley Wiggins. One gets the feeling he'd like it all to end, but they don't seem to want to let him end it.
Well, no, he's always gambling on the fact that they may have a problem in the main field. They may have a little bit of a poker game being played between the teams of the sprinters, and they may well mess it up. He is, let's not forget, a brilliant pursuiter. He knows how to ride at an average speed of 54 kilometers an hour, but can he do that after leading the race for 140 kilometers? I'm not quite sure that he can. He came out here for a little bit of glory and maybe didn't expect to open up that almost 17-minute advantage that he had early on. And once you get a gap like that, you've just got to gamble that the main field decides not to chase. But when you look at the different coloured jerseys at the front end of the main field, you know the teams of the sprinters today have decided they want to have a crack at this. They want to have their last day of glory before they have to survive through the Alps, which is exactly what the sprinters have to do, because they will not enjoy the next few days.
They have to get themselves into what they will call the autobus, where they all gather around each other and go forward as a group in the hope that they beat the time limit and don't get eliminated from the race. But the thing is, Paul, on the eve of the Alps, you've got a rider like Wiggins here throwing an awful lot of energy, which at the end of the day is probably going to be for nothing apart from the day's prizes. How is he going to recover now for tomorrow?
Well, I think in the first part of this race, he wasn't really giving it a full-on stick. He was riding probably about 75% of his maximum, but now it will be starting to tire his body out a fraction. His advantage is the first day in the mountains tomorrow. It's a reasonable stage early on with only one big climb down towards the end, and he should be able to recuperate a fraction, but he will have a hard time the day after tomorrow on Sunday when we go into a massive mountain stage, and there he may well pay for this long breakaway. But at the end of the day, being a professional bike rider, representing a team and a sponsor, you have to try and get the team as much sponsorship dollars return as possible, and that's pretty much what Bradley Wiggins is doing today, because Team Cofidis have been on the screens of all of the television networks around the world for the last 2 hours.
Past the church of Saint-Cyr, which is one of the monuments in the air which is classified. I think they all are. And it was built by the monks of Cluny in the 12th century. As we rejoin the face here of Bradley Wiggins, they reckon they might get caught around 14 kilometers to go now, so he's kept up his average speed. Another fine piece of artistry with the straw bales and perfect circles. I don't know how they do that. Wonderful. The bicycle frame a little bit of an odd shape, but the rest 10 out of 10. Remember that we're heading to Bourg-en-Bresse today, and as we look at I think as we look here at Bradley Wiggins, we might be able to show you the winner of the stage in Bourg-en-Bresse the last time we came here. Let's have a look. Yes, we can show you here with our flashback, and there he is, a three-man breakaway bound for Bourg-en-Bresse, and the man in the middle, Thor Hushoff, he was on his way here. He'd never won a stage in the Tour de France here in 2002. It was his second tour. He'd abandoned on stage 12 his first tour. This time he gets the better of the two-man breakaway, and he gets his first ever stage win. That was stage 18 at Bourg-en-Bresse. He went on to win again 2 years later in Quimper, 2 years after that in Strasbourg and Paris, and a year after that he won in Joigny. So he really is building up his stage wins now. He's got 5 in all. And I'm quite sure if Al Trout gets his way, he'll win again today because he's Al's bet for the victory today. Certainly he'll want to do well today because he won't be up in the mix tomorrow on the Col de la Colombia. Now what's happening here? Timeout for Brad Wiggins? Problem with his back wheel? Oh, I bet he's glad he's punctured. He looks very, very tired just now. Oh. Well, I'm not too sure why he did that. That's just made extra work for the mechanic. But it's a good idea. No panic. Back on his way. Cost him a couple of seconds. Good change by the mechanic. He's now going to go for a hike across country. They fly well, those wheels, don't they? He's back in the saddle. Well, what the heck? It's only about $1,000 worth. 5 minutes and 1 second. It wasn't a flat tyre for sure, so he may have snapped a spoke. Unusual these days, I think, but don't think that tyre was flat. So Wiggins now underway, not really having an effect yet on that time check of 5:02. It may well come down to about 4:45. There's the peloton coursing through Sancerre now as we pass the church here again. I think we're into Lugny right now, which is again another one of these beautiful Mâconnais-style villages with all those typical houses there. Mâcon, home of the great wine, just off the main A6 Route du Soleil. Well, we'll take another break as the riders continue towards Bourg-en-Bresse. We're running into the last 30 miles of the day now, and then we'll get down to a big sprint. I wonder if the man in orange can pull it off this time out. Oscar Freire, former world champion. He says he's getting better every day. One day he's going to make it, that's for sure. Maybe it's today. We'll find out soon.
The 2007 Tour de France on Versus is brought to you by Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Vault, get into it.
I guess we'll take Morty.
Yes. Pick last. Ouch. A vault will put you back on top. It quenches and kicks. Incoming! Yeah! You're a super soda mercenary! Vault. Drinks like a soda, kicks like an energy drink. Get to it!
Each of these little Cervelo innovations weighs less than 8 grams. They stiffen the bottom bracket, they strengthen the bottom bracket, they position the rear brake more aerodynamically, they optimize the rear wheel positioning, and they hide the cables from the wind. With Cervelo, small details make a big difference.
When you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes.
Yeah, when you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Goes on easy, comes off clean, leaving professional paint lines.
Looking good, you got to agree.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes for delicate or multi-surfaces.
Go on, take it off.
World Team Tennis on Versus. This week, Pete Sampras and the Breakers take on Anna Kournikova's Capitals. Sunday at 11:30 on Versus.
I need it.
Attention Northern Colorado sales professionals. Do you have the creativity and the marketing smarts to help develop successful advertising solutions? Do you have a track record that shows you are a winner? If we just described you, you may be one step away from your best career move. Comcast Spotlight is looking for sales professionals to join our great company.
Are you a sales superstar looking to add some zip into your career? Then send your resume to Comcast Spotlight in Fort Collins today.
Or call David McGrath at 970-493-5100 and get an appointment.
Blue, fight to be the one pure champion. The real drama continues. The Tour de France, Stage 6, enhanced tonight at 8 on Versus.
Back on the route du Tour, and the peloton now starting to lift the pace a little bit as we head towards Bourg-en-Bresse, a sprinter's delight today. Sprinters usually win down in Bourg. As we look up front here now with the man who's setting the pace, and this is Bradley Wiggins. 4 minutes 11 just now is his gap, and it is coming down, but he's done very well to put up this show of resistance today. He's had a wheel change. We think it was a broken spoke. It wasn't a flat tyre, as he's now got 45 kilometres to go, and that's about 27 miles to the finish. It's not a long way, but of course he's been in the lead the whole race today, apart from the first mile. And you can see a number of sprinters now. Now they're the current point situation with one more sprint along the way to go, and the big finish, of course. Bona's retaken the lead over Zabel. Hunter is in third place, but tied equal on fourth there is Oscar Freire. And we've got a feeling Oscar Freire may do something today. He's starting to come pretty good. So he's our Hampton Hotels athlete profile today. Watch this, Oscar Freire far left of the picture. This won't go wrong now. Tom Bona is moving across into the slipstream, being challenged all of the way around the line. It's gone to Oscar Freire, and Oscar Freire has pulled out one of the best sprints of his life there.
Oscar Freire is another star on the Rabobank team. Last year he won 2 stages in the Tour de France. This year he already won Milan-San Remo, and he's a 3-time world champion.
Freire now trying to go for it. This is going to be anybody's line now. Can Pataki do it? Oscar Freire takes it on the line with an incredible result.
He's smart. He's always finding good spots in the peloton, and he can sit on your wheel and just jump the last few meters before the line. So you always have to get scared of Freire. He's a strong rider.
It's a super talent. You see when he's coming to a race, he doesn't need much racing, and he can win already stages or races.
And as they head up to the walls of the finish, look at that move by Oscar Freire here. He's jumped the medium strip in an effort to get to the front. The gamble paid off. Oscar Freire is coming clear to win the 7th stage of the Tour de Suisse.
It was amazing. It was almost impossible to stay in front of that peloton. And he's a sprinter, and now he was alone. But when he made the jump, he was alone. It's a very good run.
When he's on his peak form, he's a dangerous man to everybody.
Yes, our Hampton Hotels athlete profile there. Well, I'll tell you, Oscar Freire is a man for the big occasion. There's no doubt about that. Little look at his statistics here. He's 31 now. He stands just under 6 feet tall. A pro since 1998. When he's not sick or injured, he's a winner all of the way, and he has won 3 world titles, and that's a fantastic result for him, rivaling the great Eddie Merckx. His wins in the Tour have come in Saarbrück, in Caen and in Dax, and watch out today in Bourg-en-Bresse. There's the peloton trying to close in on a very defiant Bradley Wiggins right now, but we're back down again. 3 minutes 46 now. Well, at the moment, they're trying to get up with the leader, Paul. 3:45. They reckon they might pick him up around 14 kilometres to go on the computer now, but we keep proving the computer wrong today.
Well, the computer doesn't factor in how tired the rider might be. It's a very logical thing. I think the main field will catch Bradley Wiggins at the time when they feel they want to. They've actually pulled back more than a minute in 10 kilometres. And if Bradley Wiggins all of a sudden decides, well, enough's enough, I'll allow them to pull me back, he may well sit up and they'll wipe away that advantage in just another 10 kilometres.
Well, I hope the Union flag and the English flag there waving proudly. We're waving proudly when Bradley went past, because they definitely got a result today on the roadside of France. Here's the field now, all the sprinters putting one man into the chase to play fair to everybody else, while the rest just hang around the sprinter and protect him. Good steady tempo riding, and 3:44 the gap. There's going to be a ripple of excitement if we get to 38 kilometres to go with Bradley, and we should now, because we're only 42, so we've only got 4 kilometres to the last sprint of the day. That'll be another 800 euros for Bradley. He'll have won every prize along the road today, 2 mountains and 3 sprints, but again we should see a terrific sprint for that 2nd place.
I think it's going to be a big battle. Bonan knows that he has to get points on every day of the Tour if he wants to win the green jersey points classification. But the difficult thing for the sprinters is they have to battle it out on the flat stages to get themselves points in that competition. but then they have to survive in the mountains. But yesterday I thought Tom Bowden exhibited the fact that he's got some pretty good form here this year in the month of July, Phil, because of the big sprinters, the heavy sprinters, he was the man who handled those climbs the best.
Yes, absolutely, but he just doesn't seem to be quite as sharp yet as we've seen him in the past. He's coming back, and often it's a good sign, because the Tour is a long way and you can get better as the Tour goes on. It's certainly the right way to get better than to get worse, that's for sure. Bradley swings onto a nice wide boulevard, so this should take us down to the Pont de Vaux, which is the next sprint point for Bradley, and then all he's got to do is get down to Bourg-en-Bresse to complete his nap hand. That might be a bit more difficult, I think. He concentrates on his way, rides on the top of the brake hoods there. Let me remind you again to come and play our Saab Watch and Win sweepstakes. Just log on versus.com/a fly to the finish, and your chance to win a Saab 9.3 Combi, Sport Combi, or a Cervelo carbon bike. You need the keywords today: born from jets. Ball breathe in as we go over the bridge. Our camera made it past the Cofidis team car there, and plenty of water being taken on now. He's probably gone through quite a few of those bottles today of fluid. Quite rightly so. He's not just building his body for today, he's thinking of long term for tomorrow in the mountains, when he might spend a lot of time on his own tomorrow, and it won't be at the front of the race. I don't mean that disrespectful to Bradley, because the big boys who want to win the Tour will be definitely in the front tomorrow. But Bradley Wiggins has done a great ride today, without doubt his finest ride since he turned professional at this level on the road. He's won the prologue time trials, but he's never given us any real evidence he's been a great road racing cyclist. But he has today. Broke away at 2 kilometers in. He's only 40 from the finish. There's the railroad. Keep on trucking, everyone. We'll be back in just a moment as we head to Bourg.
Who wants to be stranded with a flat tire?
Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry. Well, I guess I'll be on my way.
Bridgestone. Run flat tires.
Bridgestone.
Blockbuster Total Access. Like Netflix, you get unlimited movies straight to your mailbox.
I got a movie.
I can't wait to see that movie about the Queen.
You mean this movie?
My Place in a Few?
Sure.
But with Blockbuster Total Access, you can do something you can't do with Netflix. Exchange your movies for new ones right in the store. No extra charge, just in case you need them.
Hi.
Movies through the mail plus movies through the store. One low price. That's Blockbuster Total Access. Get a free trial at your Blockbuster store or blockbuster.com.
That ought to do it.
Assuming you've done enough for retirement doesn't make much sense either. That's why you should invest with Edward Jones to make sure you're on the right track. Because 2 out of 3 Americans are unprepared for retirement. Don't.
With 18 unique Star motorcycles, there's no limit to how far you can go. We build it. You make it your own. Exclusively at your Yamaha dealer. Now get payments from $69 a month plus up to $1,000 cash back.
Welcome back. This is the beautiful River Saône here, which is coursing its way down through the countryside. We've been with it for a couple of days now. The riders passing through Chalon-sur-Saône yesterday, and everybody enjoying the Tour de France, because they are now coming over the bridge here, closing in on the sprint. Bradley Wiggins must be very close to the sprint. Our camera's moved away from him for the moment. The gap is still coming down. It won't spoil a perfect day for him. He'll have won every prize along the road with a magnificent solo effort by the British rider. 3:42 the gap. The Cofidis team, of which Wiggins is part of, are having a very good opening week to the Tour, because they also have the King of the Mountains leader on it as well. 4 hours and 24 minutes he's been going now, Paul, and all except the first 4 minutes he's been in the lead in the Tour de France. Here he goes, the 800 euros are back in. This is Bradley Wiggins, then he comes under the banner of the Pont de Vaux. It means he has 38 kilometres left to go. He has been in the lead for 159 kilometres of the 199 of the day. Talk about a long day in the office. This has been a tough one.
A long day at the office for Bradley Wiggins here this afternoon. He's starting to feel a little pain coming into the lower part of his back now. He's been at the front end of this race. At one stage, he had a 17-minute advantage, and that sort of started to ring alarm bells in the main field, because this man is no mean performer when it comes to the sport of professional cycling. He'd hoped to win the prologue time trial in London, crossed the line in 4th place, but he is, after all, an Olympic gold medalist at the solitary effort of the individual pursuit.
And the town here of Pont de Vaux, en fait, the French enjoying the arrival of the Tour de France. I was a little bit loose in my calculation. They've been in the lead for 159 kilometres, and that is a long way. It's 100 miles he's been out front. He's done the 100 miles in 4.5 hours, despite having the Tour de France chase him all day. An Olympic gold medalist and world champion, this man, on the track, of course. Bit of a difference when you ride long-distance road races, but he's proving today to be a good road rider at last.
Well, all of a sudden, in the last 2 years, he's actually decided to enjoy riding road racing, and he's associated himself quite a lot with Chris Boardman, who, like him, was a very good pursuiter. He, like Chris Boardman, was Olympic champion of the individual pursuit and turned his talents to ride well in road racing. If you can ride a pursuit at 4 kilometres at the speed of riders like Christopher Boardman and Bradley Wiggins, you can turn that engine into being a very successful engine on the road, as this man is doing today.
Absolutely, and Chris Boardman's 4,000 metres world record still stands at 4 minutes and 11 seconds. And the man to finally beat that record might well be Bradley Wiggins one day. He's got the right idea to cheer and frighten the fish away at the same time.
Absolutely. A lot of riders moving up to the front now with the blue jerseys of Team Quick-Step. Boonen wants this here this afternoon. He may be sending his team up just a little bit too early. As I said earlier, Sean Kelly said to me before the start, the way that Tom Boonen has to win is by having a well-disciplined train. But if you use the train like this, Phil, too far from the finish line, you may well not have the train left to catapult yourself into victory. Boonen is sitting there with Freddie Rodriguez on his wheel, and he's 500 metres from the sprint. I wonder if he'll have a go at this one, or whether he'll wait now and try and conserve all his energy for the final sprint to the line.
Line is good, and at the front here, a rider who was most impressed with his visit to London. He'd never seen so many people watch a bicycle race in his life, and he thought it was fantastic to be in the Tour de France. But here comes the work now by Quick-Step. The same lead out now, but I don't see Tom at the moment. They've gone forward, and Boonen hasn't come with them. A little bit of a distraction, perhaps.
Well,
that was the sprinter, and they decided to use the teammates to just take the points away from everybody else. So they're going to decide it on the final show at the finish line.
Well, he was just keeping an eye over. He wanted to know whether or not any of the other contenders for the green jersey were going to come forward and take that sprint point. And once he saw that they weren't, he decided not to dig into his reserves and waste any energy on that sprint. But he will still get himself another 2 points.
Well, the face of Bradley Wiggins, he's lost 1 minute 10 seconds in just 3 kilometres, less than 2 miles. So it's down to 2:52 now, but that's because of the acceleration for that sprint at Pont de Vaux. 38 kilometres to go. He's at 35 kilometres to go. And now he's going to have to start thinking, can I lift the ante and try and win the stage? It would be great if he could, but I can't see it.
Well, the gap has come down pretty consistently. He lost 1.5 minutes between 50 and 40 kilometres to go. In a couple of kilometres' time, we'll get a chance to see how much he's lost in that next 10-kilometre section.
2 minutes 44 seconds, exit of the Pont de Vaux. And it was de Jonge and Stegmans, the teammates, who just went through and made sure the points didn't go to anybody else. They don't need them, of course, but they stopped the people of Zabel or the likes taking them into their bank account. So they've just called a bit of a truce there, waiting for the big finish down the road, which isn't too far away. And don't forget, there's another great sport, World Team Tennis, you can see here on Versus, and it's tennis like you've never seen before. The big names play this, and Versus serves up the WTT, all starting Sunday, 11:30 a.m. when tennis great Pete Sampras, wasn't he great, leads his Newport Beach Breakers into action against the Sacramento Capitals. That's World Team Tennis all summer long, here on Versus. And still the pretty sights as we switch back to the race now, and Anthony Chartreux has got himself back in front for Crédit Agricole. Winders Gurneman going through for T-Mobile. Everybody prepared to work, just with one man on the team to contribute to the chase as they chase the world and Olympic pursuit champion. Bradley Wiggins is over all the ripples of the day now. We're running down to Bourg-en-Bresse. We are almost home for yet another day. And just asking there for a little bit of help at the back of the races. Ronnie Schultz and Gerolsteiner wants a drink, don't they all? This man, though, is doing the ride of his career right now. Bradley Wiggins up front. See you in a moment.
Visa PayWave. Now there are more places and more ways to pay. Faster. Life takes Visa.
The Cervelo SLC SL is a pure breakaway machine. Learn more and enter to win this Cervelo Dream Bike at competitivecyclist.com.
Hey, Judy. Linda, hi. We're getting that new Samsung washer dryer.
Us too, they're super quiet.
Hey, me too.
Hey, Jeff.
Oh yeah, those are selling like hotcakes. At Lowe's, we always have hundreds of innovative appliances in stock, all at everyday low prices. Plus, we always give you free next-day local delivery and haul away. Can I help you? My wife's going to kill me if I don't bring this home. No problem.
Lowe's, let's build something together. Use your Lowe's consumer card and pay nothing for 6 months on appliance purchases of $299 or more.
At Ruby Tuesday, great meals are a matter of course. First course, picked fresh. Second course, grilled to perfection. Third course, sweet moments with friends. Starting at $9.99. Petite sirloin, chicken fresco, Ruby Tuesday.
I hear you're still looking for me.
Born?
On August 3rd.
Why did you come here, Jason?
Someone made me what I am. And I'm gonna find him.
Bourne comes home.
He has our entire playbook. Names, dates, ghost sites.
What makes you think he's gonna put it together?
It's Jason Bourne. He already has.
Eliminate the threat.
The Bourne Ultimatum.
I remember everything.
What do you think of Mike Wallace and the Geico Chevrolet?
Whatever. He's out there selling car insurance. I'm out there to win.
Isn't he your cousin?
I didn't say I wouldn't go fishing with the man. All I'm saying is, if he comes near me, I'll put him in the wall.
But you don't race in the Busch Series.
Listen, go-kart track, grocery store, those remote-control boats. When it comes to Mike Wallace, the story ends with me putting him in the wall.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Welcome back to the Tour de France. The time gap at the moment, which has just been shown to Bradley Wiggins, is down to 2:25, and he's about 20 miles still to ride to the finish. It's going to be tough, and I don't think he can do it. His face is now quite twisted in pain. He has been out in front the whole day today, except for the first 5 minutes of racing. So remember that tomorrow it will be a very different Tour de France. It is when we start to find out just who might win this race in a couple of weeks' time. So do join us tomorrow. We start earlier, don't miss us, 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Set the alarm over on the West Coast as we then move on stage 7 to Bourg-en-Bresse, into the heart of the Alps and the Grand Bournon. The Grand Bournon lies at the base of the Col de Colombière, and that will be the big target for the big hitters tomorrow. Levi Leipheimer, Alejandro Valverde. Can Alexander Vinokourov and Andreas Klose match them? Or indeed, can Cadel Evans show us what he's really made of? A clash of the giants tomorrow on the Col de Colombière. Don't miss it. Be with us from 7:30 Eastern, as we now see 2 minutes and 5 seconds at the moment. And it's coming down already. Well, still looking at Bradley Wiggins here, 4:34 at the moment, but out, you know, right across in the far horizon is Mont Blanc and Italy. The Tour de France won't be going that direction, I hope, but the Alps are there.
Well, I have to tell you one thing, Phil. It is very rare, I think, to see Mont Blanc quite as clearly as that. Admittedly, it's a long way off in the distance, but certainly it is magnificent to see. A little bit scary, though, for the riders to see it so clearly as they ride into Bourg-en-Bresse, because that's basically the area where they're going to be going into over the next couple of days.
Yes, I suppose that's around about 150 kilometres visibility there, right over to Mont Blanc, which is the gateway through Mont Blanc Tunnel into Italy. The riders themselves will be soon into the Alps tomorrow for what should be a very exciting day of racing. And you can bet the crowds will be out for the weekend, certainly in the Alps. Rest day Monday, and we stay in the Alps for another battle on Tuesday. There's the Charolais as they turn their back on the Tour de France. How dare they?
Well, they're probably wondering about whether or not they might end up on a Tour de France Riders Plate in the evening, because these guys have got to, they have to ingest, the riders in the Tour, around about 7,000 calories every day, and that's the amount that they will burn on a day like this. And that's why you can see them throughout almost the whole stage, every 10 or 15 minutes, eating a little bit, getting the energy levels topped up. And Robbie McEwen, I have to say, Phil, might not be too bad, because he's got his men moving up to the front end of the main field. The heart rates are starting to tick up as well now, because Benoit Salmon's heart rate has suddenly moved up to 165 beats a minute. He's starting to get right up there towards the red zone. David Cañada's suffering a bit too, because he's also up at 166 beats a minute. So that's an indication that the chase now is seriously on.
And Bradley Wiggins still trying to hold them off, but he's now down to 1 minute and 44 seconds and falling. The peloton's moving coolly. Looking at that long straight road there, I couldn't see Wiggins, but there he is. Minute 41 now, 30 kilometres left to ride. About 19 miles to the finish. It won't come quick enough for Bradley today. And I don't think now, looking at his face, he'll even hold on to the peloton when it comes by, but there'll be no danger of elimination. He'll be on the podium tonight as the most aggressive rider. He'll pull on that red number tomorrow for sure. There's been no other aggressive rider they could possibly award the prize to today. It's all been Wiggins today, the whole of the 6th stage of the Tour de France, all bar 2 kilometres of the 199.
Well, the sad thing to announce is over that last 10 kilometres, between 40 kilometres to go and 30 kilometres to go, Bradley Wiggins actually lost himself 2 minutes of his advantage, and if that continues the way it has been doing, he will get caught before 20 kilometres to go.
Well, every day the referees add on the number of kilometres that the riders stay in breakaways. There are prizes for that. And let me tell you that Sylvain Chavanel has spent most of the week in leading groups. He's totted up 300 kilometres, and this is going to bring Miller is also in there, by the way, with 8 with his long break in Britain of 156. But Wiggins is going to come in here because at the moment, with 30 to go, he's going to come in with over 165. So he'll slip in as around about the 5th longest break of the race so far. Cumulatively, that is. This is the longest break of the race on any one particular day.
Well, 1.5 minutes just on the 30 kilometres to go mark, and the main field will have quickly worked out that all they need to do is shave off 30 seconds for every 10 kilometres of racing, and I think they're going fairly fast now. They're getting the bit between their teeth. They want to get this race down into the outskirts of Bourg-en-Bresse, and maybe it's a good time to talk about the final few kilometres, because they are very straight indeed from 5 kilometres to go. There are 2 nasty little traffic circles, though, between 4 kilometres and 3 kilometres to go. That might be a point where there could be a little bit of a contretemps. But once they get into 2 kilometres to go, there's really only one bend in the course, and that's a sweeping bend at around about 500 metres to go. And as you said, Phil, it climbs up slightly to the finish line, not really very much. I think the most dangerous thing that the riders will have to calculate is the cross headwind. And if you start the sprint just a little bit too early and you have that wind in your face, it'll give the advantage to a man like Robbie McEwen, who's probably the fastest rider in the world over the final 50 metres.
But is he hurting as well as we believe he is? We're going to find out all of the answers very shortly now, because these boys are in the last 35 minutes of racing, and that's why they would like to finish off the breakaway so they can concentrate on pulling their sprinter up to the front. So last time we're going to talk of the sprinters for at least 3 days, plus the rest day, of course, because they'll all take a back seat now. There's the team of Pozzato. Pozzato himself having a good day today. And Robbie McEwen moving up over the top of Pozzato. That's Robbie on the right in the pink jersey. Something wrong here. We've seen him before the last 500 metres.
Well, you know, Robbie is a fighter, and he realises himself, Phil, that this is the last chance for a number of days to get himself the stage victory. And any sprinter, all of a sudden, even if he's hurt, even if he's injured, gets the will to win. It's a crazy thing about sprinters. They are very special characters, and they just love that burst for the line. And Robbie McEwen has moved up now because his teammates have probably come alongside him and said, Robbie, how are you feeling today? Do we need to do any work for you? Do we need to pull this back and set up the sprint for you at the end of the day? And he said, well, okay, guys, I'll have a go. And if he's going to have a go, it's to try and win. It's not to play for second or third place.
Oh, of course, Robbie doesn't race for second or third place. He wants the win. He's looking for win number 13 in career tour history for him. As the riders now are massing here. There's an awful lot of motos in between, and they are now just on 45 seconds or so behind. They are closing right in, and they are now almost trying not to catch him because they've got him and they could reach out and touch him. There he is, just popping into our picture. And I think you'll find that most of the cars have now been taken out from behind. Little bit, we're looking at our computer. Crédit Agricole seems to be responsible for a lot of the work now, 34% of the chase. And the other teams up front, Quick-Step, Milram and T-Mobile. Most of that work for Crédit Agricole has been done by Anthony Charteau. And these things are only worked out over a 10-minute period, so it's been Crédit Agricole doing most of the chasing. And that's perhaps poignant for Thor Hushovd. 1:13, they're saying, so it's not that bad. He's still hanging on at 27 kilometres.
Well, I think the writing is, though, on the wall. He will get caught.
Oh, yes. Yes, the writing is very much on the wall here, or even on the top of that car. Good position to see the Tour go by. They're the team cars we can see, but they'll be pulling out the following cars once he gets to the minute mark, I think, because they provide a little bit of a tempter for the peloton. Still, we've got Linus Gerdemans here. Johan van Summeren sitting up for taking his last food. And Van Sevenens here in the centre. They're the workhorses for Robbie McEwen. We'll come back in a moment.
If you're tired of brush piles messing up your property, worried about dangerous burning, or frustrated by undersized, underpowered equipment, now you can use a professional-powered DR chipper for 6 months risk-free. The DR chipper devours brush, branches, even tree limbs up to 4.5 inches thick, faster and easier than you can imagine, all while producing valuable wood chip mulch, perfect for use around trees, shrubs, and plantings.
There's no waste. Everything is used. There's nothing to burn, nothing left to bury. It's all returned to nature. And that's really nice.
Call today, 1-800-761-0732. You'll receive a free catalog and DVD all about the amazing DR chipper. The DR is easy to transport, easy to start, and incredibly easy to use. Property owners everywhere love their DR chipper.
I couldn't wait to use it, and once I got out on a couple jobs, it was the sweetest thing. It's easy to operate, it's light, I can maneuver it in some tight spaces. Fresh cut wood, it goes through no problem. Even wood that's been sitting around, it chips up no problem, and it really does a good job.
DR has the largest selection of chipper models anywhere, including smaller backyard models, big V-twin powered models, and even tractor-powered 3-point hitch models. Get professional quality at home with the amazing DR chipper. Call now, 1-800-761-0732 for your free catalog and DVD all about the amazing DR chipper. You'll learn how you can save up to $419 and get to try a DR chipper on your own property for 6 months risk-free. There's no obligation, but this is a very limited time offer. So call now, 1-800-761-0732. Online at drchipper.com.
DR is professional power for homeowners.
MMA can be extremely artful, it can be scientific, it can be a chess match, or it can be a brutal, quick knockout that nobody ever expected it.
Hopefully, Connie, you're still up for it. Baby, I'm coming out to that belt.
never know what's going to happen.
Welcome back. These are the arrival of all the forward vehicles in the Tour de France, which means the race is not now very far away as we're going down into Bourg-en-Bresse and the gateway, as far as these riders are concerned, tomorrow into the Alps. They haven't caught him yet. 70-odd seconds is still the gap. There we are, 76. And there's the long straight road. They are painfully catching him, but if ever there's a way to just let a boy hang out, they're certainly doing it to Bradley Wiggins today. He's approaching the last few kilometers of the day. He is up there by that minute and pulling away just a little bit, but they know when they pounce, they'll wipe him out. Peloton still losing ground by the odd second just now. Most of the sprinters have put a rider up on the front to show willing. CSC themselves seem to have been taking less of an interest now. Cancellara should be in yellow by the end of the day. He only has to finish with the group, doesn't need a place over the bonuses, and he'll keep his yellow jersey. So there's no reason to work hard. There's the team of the yellows of Sonia Duval. That's David Miller's team. Cole Cloden is in there in second place, so they've had a reasonable day, I think. They've shown signs of being a little bit stiff and sore at the back of the bunch, but I think for Vinokourov and Andreas Cloden, the day has not been passed too badly as Miller goes under 25 kilometers to go.
25 kilometers to go. Theoretically, that should take the riders between 30 and 35 minutes of racing. A minute and 20 seconds is his gap. In fact, he's held his gap since the 30th kilometer. You know what the main field are doing now? They're actually being rather mean with Bradley Wiggins, Phil, because they're just leaving him out there to stew. They can catch him now any time that they want.
We are now at 25 kilometers to go. Wiggins is still clear. There is the peloton at 1:22. Everybody is in there, and I think a lot of relief all round for Team Astana, because although we've seen Andreas Cloden looking a little bit in trouble, and Vinokourov bandaged all over him, both knees and his elbow, they're both in there, and I feel that this day may have gone in their favor. I think by the time they get to the finish tonight, they'll be feeling a lot happier than they were this morning at the start. 25 to go for the peloton. Wiggins is still holding them off.
Well, he's still holding them off, but if you look at the speed of the main field here, Phil, they've actually switched off the chase. They now know that they can pull Bradley Wiggins back into the fold at any time that they decide to. Look at the wind, though. It's starting to get that little bit blustery, and I'm sure the information has gone back from the finish line to all of the sprinters. Watch out. Just be very careful the way you take this sprint, because the wind will be right in your face inside the last 500 meters. There's the main field, and on these long straights, they can see Bradley Wiggins, and they now know, sadly, they can catch him any time that they want to.
Yes, they know it. Bradley knows it. He can't even slow down. They slow down. They're leaving him to fry alive today on what has been the hottest day of the Tour de France, as tomorrow we approach the Alps. These riders aren't racing to catch Wiggins. They're racing to try and divert attention from one another. They know when the chase starts, Wiggins will be swept up. Of course, they do make mistakes and riders do stay away, but I can't see this happening. It's 1.5 minutes to Wiggins right now. This has been a terrific ride by Bradley. He is a pursuiter, a world and Olympic champion pursuiter. But this has been a pursuit of 180 kilometers.
Long day in the saddle, a long day at the front of the race, but he's got himself a lot of publicity from this move this afternoon, and he's also got himself a lot of credibility for making a move like that. But in the back of his mind, he's now got to realize that there's still almost 2 weeks of racing to go till he gets to the finish. Rowan McEwen's got his men up at the front end of the main field. You can see on the left-hand side, the predictor rider is Wim van Sevenant. Right in the middle is the big, strong boy himself, Johan van Sommeren. Still eating, still keeping himself topped up with energy. And that man has got so much energy. He really can put in a savage turn of speed when required. And he'll do that once we get that little bit closer to the finish.
They're all watching and waiting. When is somebody going to make the first move? That looked like David Zabriskie swung across the face of the pack here as we've gone up now towards the finish here. 1:38 with Wiggins, 22 to go. They will sweep him up, believe me. They're waiting for somebody to make the move now, and Robbie Ventura can tell us what the finish is like.
We're here at the finish of stage 6, one of the last opportunities for the sprinters to take the center stage at the Tour de France. It's going to be interesting. There's nothing tricky about this finish. It's long, straight, and very, very fast. The team that is serious about winning today is going to have to put 3 or 4 guys in the front of the field with about 2 kilometers to go, with the last lead-out man pulling off with about 150 meters to go, and hopefully the team's fast man can kick it that last 150 meters to the line for a victory in stage 6.
But Robbie, the question is, who will get the victory in stage 6, because there are so many fast finishers. One thing's for sure, we're going to see Eric Zabel fight like a scalded cat to keep that leader's green jersey, which he's technically lost at the moment out on the road. So he must beat Bonen quite convincingly to keep the lead tonight, and Bonen knows that. But the others are in the mix as well. Closing in on him are Robbie Hunter, Oscar Freire and Robbie McEwen. They're also in that competition with a vengeance. This here is Bradley Wiggins. There's the brave gendarme, splitting the field because of that central obstruction. He's nosed it out again while the peloton decide what to do and when to attack. 1 minute 45. There's hardly a huge fast speed being enacted at the moment. 15.7 miles an hour. He's got a block headwind here. It is quite strong. And of course, he is extremely tired now, with just 22 kilometers, just over 12 miles to go. They're saying 1 minute 50 in my earphones from the race radio timekeepers, so he's still moving clear here. If that is the case, they're making it very difficult for themselves, aren't they? But they're all looking at each other, and they want the other to make the move, and nobody is delivering the sprint yet. Sooner or later, I think the big sprinters will tell their riders to start riding and close it down. There they are. They couldn't go much slower. This is a very nervous approach to the line. Not normal at all, this. A very nervous Tour de France peloton down there. We've had a lot of crashes at the finish, don't forget, and they'll be well aware of that. Certainly the Astana boys won't get mixed up in the finish today. The flags of Australia are down there. It's very similar to the flag of New Zealand. The stars are a bit smaller, and Julian Dean could win today. We'll take a break.
You got to be on your toes. You know, you probably come close to crashing half a dozen to a dozen times. You know, it's you're right on the limit. There's a lot of yelling, there's a lot of elbowing, there's a lot of fighting. It's pretty hardcore.
Homeowners, want to refinance and get cash? Countrywide has a great reason to do it now. A no-cost refi. It has no points, no credit reporting fee, no processing fee, no document fee, and no third-party fees. No title or escrow fees. Absolutely no closing costs. So you wind up with a lot more cash. Call now and ask for a no-cost refi. We're America's #1 home loan lender, and no one can do what Countrywide can.
Call 1-800-641-0784.
Who wants to be stranded with a flat tire? Changing tires out here could be dangerous, but with these tires, I don't need to worry. Well, I guess I'll be on my way.
Bridgestone. Run flat tires.
Bridgestone.
They're crossing the country, searching for the next mixed martial arts badass. All new episodes of the original series tap out Wednesdays beginning August 1st on Versus.
Hey.
Bicycle Village, the ultimate bike shop. Bicycle Village has Colorado's largest selection of bikes, from tandems to trikes to top-end bikes. All the best brands and the largest selection. Over 1,000 bikes set up and ready to ride from the brands you want, like Trek, Specialized, Raleigh, Lightspeed, and more. Only Bicycle Village offers same-day bike service to get you back on your bike quicker. Plus lifetime tunes and an unbeatable performance guarantee on every bike we sell. And we always guarantee the lowest prices. Bicycle Village, the ultimate bike shop.
Come out and run the inaugural U.S. Half Marathon at Copper Mountain Resort. Whatever your age and ability, there's a race for you. Half Marathon, 12K, 5K walk, or kids race. This event benefits Team Summit, Summit County's premier ski and snowboard team. Meet Team Summit at the Finish Line Festival in Copper Village, where they'll be serving food and drinks while enjoying live music. This exciting weekend is brought to you by Natural, a leader in premium quality nutritional supplements and the official sponsor of the U.S. Half Marathon.
Coming to France for one reason. He's still got fight in him. To sprint, climb, sweat, bleed, fight to be the one pure champion. The real drama continues. The Tour de France, Stage 6, next on Versus.
Still smiling on the stage today is the race leader Fabian Cancellara, Vinokurov and Kloden. They look a little bit better as they ride despite their injuries. 2 kilometres out today, Bradley Wiggins broke away. 45 kilometres, he had 17 minutes plus, and now he's still away as we run down towards the finish of today's stage. Just when will the peloton abandon and chase him down? Bonen has regained the points lead on the road. Degano sadly went out at the feed with another little bit of a silly crash there during the snatching of the bags. There is 20 kilometres to go for the peloton. The gap is 1 minute 45 seconds. Well, it's still going up actually, because the peloton, and it's a long time since we've seen a Tour de France stage coming to the finish in the last 20 kilometres, and they're not in a very angry straight line. Being picked up about now by the Gerolsteiner team here. They're thinking of Robert Foster as their possible sprinter. But the big boys at the top of that green jersey classification, Bonen, Zabel, Hunter and Frere and McEwen, just don't really seem to be too interested in bringing the chase to the boil. Very mysterious, as Sherlock Holmes might say. As we're now looking here at Gerolsteiner, then it's Charteau, Lindes Gernam, I think it is there, the big boy for T-Mobile. All different teams here. And now it looks as though the word has gone out. 18 kilometres. We should see that gap come down now. 1:43 at the moment is what they're saying. But now the chase has started. They decided to wait till they saw that 20 kilometres to go banner before they started to move on. Minute 41 and 11 miles only left to ride. The average speed after nearly 5 hours today, just 22.7 miles an hour. A long slog into a horrible wind today of about 8 miles an hour for Bradley Wiggins on his own. Now you're seeing this man getting down to it now. He's in his pursuing style and he's going to be hurting a lot. Minute 38, it's coming down rapidly now. Doesn't deserve to be caught, of course, they never do, but I think he will be. It's nice to see Bradley now putting on his pursuing hat, Paul. He's got into that lovely style that he has that's made him a world and Olympic champion. He's suffering for sure now, but he's moving forward. To Montrevel-en-Bresse, we're heading to Bourg-en-Bresse. He can't possibly make it, and I only wish I could say he could, but the peloton started to chase now.
Well, they've lifted it up, and they know as soon as they lift it up, they'll start to eat into that advantage. You see, they've just shaved 20 seconds off his lead very rapidly indeed. He'll keep riding right up until the moment they are on his tail here, as we get a chance to see the magical scenery here that the riders will be treated to in a few moments' time once they get down towards the finish line.
This is going round in circles anyway. So as we look now at the peloton from the helicopter, they are now in very angry move. Bradley Wiggins is scurrying towards the finish. Will or will he not make it? These boys says he won't.
They certainly say that he won't, because you just have to keep glancing at the time gap between Bradley Wiggins and the front end of the main field. Anthony Charteau is doing an excellent job. He's taking it from 1 minute and 45 seconds down to 1 minute and 15 seconds. That's a 30 seconds pullback on Bradley Wiggins. But I think what's more important, Phil, is you can start to see the organisation appearing at the front end of the main field. All of the teams of the sprinters now are starting to group together, just waiting for the moment to grab their prey. And this is their prey this afternoon, Bradley Wiggins of Great Britain.
A brilliant, brilliant ride by Bradley. The best ride he's ever done as a pro, I believe. He's won prologue time trials, but now he's one of the men. Now he's a real road racing cyclist here. A long breakaway like this in the Tour de France. Everybody will know him now, as he broke away 2 kilometres into a 200-kilometre stage. And here we are approaching the last 16 kilometres. He is still away by over a minute. It looks like the catch will come maybe in the last 5 or 6 miles of the day.
Heart rate's creeping up. Most of the guys are riding with heart rates up around the 160 mark at the moment. Just a little bit of a slowdown there, 30 kilometers an hour to go around that corner, but it doesn't have very much effect on the heart rate because all of these riders now are seeing their heart rates creep up to the maximum.
Very tense now in the peloton. They'll be very vigilant. They don't want no more silly touches of wheels now like we had yesterday. We haven't got the same dangerous approach to the finishing town that we had yesterday, where we came off the Croix de la Libération climb down those hairpin bends where we saw riders diving into the grass and correcting their descent. None of that today. It's a sprinter's delight and a new charge coming up on the left of the road.
Well, on the right of the road too, you can see there the pale blue jerseys of Team Gerolsteiner. You can see Team Lamprey in the pink and blue jerseys. They're all massed together. I wonder which one of their sprinters they'll be looking after today, whether it'll be Napolitano or whether it will be Daniele Bernati, who rode a very good race yesterday. Although Napolitano was left behind, he's not quite that good a climber to survive the nasty little third category climb we had yesterday towards the end. The yellow car you can see just up at the front there, that is the neutral service vehicle behind Bradley Wiggins. And Bradley Wiggins just about to see that sign which will indicate to him 15 kilometers to go, just holding on to a minute.
There's the banner, 15 kilometers to go. Bradley Wiggins is under it. He's got less than a minute now. That's about 9 miles to run of the 200-kilometer stage today. He's led for all of it. It's hurting now, Paul, but can he hold them off?
Well, I'm always the bringer of doom to the breakaway. When you look at the figures, you figure out the statistics. You don't have to be a massive mathematician to know that time is against Bradley Wiggins there. 15 kilometers, less than the 1 minute mark. The main field are not even really chasing yet, Phil, and they're pulling back the man in front of them. Shortly, he will be back with them for the first time since the 2nd kilometer of the race. Very shortly, they'll start to pull out all of those cars. The neutral service car will disappear, the referee's car will disappear, and the gap between the field and Wiggins will be completely sterile.
Well, you're just seeing Charteau here. He's been a brilliant teammate this week, Charteau, to his squad, and he's working now for Hushoff. They are under 15 kilometers to go. 51.49 seconds as we speak. It's going down all of the time now. 2 splits here. And the Barlow boys are lining up in red with the yellow flashes for Robbie Hunter. Sadly, they've lost one of their strong lead-out man today. Enrico Degano crashed at the feed out of the Tour. His first Tour as well. 50 seconds now. They've shown the leaders board here to Bradley Wiggins. Really flown the Union flag with pride today as Bradley Wiggins, the Londoner, who wanted so much to win in London, but he's become more famous on the roads of France today, that's for sure. The diamond of the peloton, as they now huddle together. Who is going to make the move that brings Bradley back? Because it certainly isn't apparent yet. But when we come back, we should get all of the answers.
Blockbuster Total Access. Like Netflix, you get unlimited movies straight to your mailbox.
I got a movie.
I can't wait to see that movie about the Queen.
You mean this movie?
My Place in a Few?
Sure.
But with Blockbuster Total Access, you can do something you can't do with Netflix. Exchange your movies for new ones right in the store. No extra charge, just in case you need them.
Hi.
Movies through the mail plus movies through the store. One low price. That's Blockbuster Total Access. Get a free trial at your Blockbuster store or blockbuster.com.
That ought to do it.
Assuming you've done enough for retirement doesn't make much sense either.
That's why you should invest with Edward Jones to make sure you're on the right track. Because 2 out of 3 Americans are unprepared for retirement. Don't be.
Experience this summer's hottest all-inclusive destinations. Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic and Cancun in the Mexican Caribbean. Don't miss out on these fabulous vacation packages brought to you by MK Tours, featuring the incredible Barceló all-inclusive beach resorts, located on some of the best beaches in the world. Get away to any of these magnificent resorts with our all-inclusive offers. 3 nights from just $249 and 7 nights from just $589. Includes hotel accommodations, all meals, all drinks, and live entertainment. Call MK Tours toll-free 877-823-4226. Only MK Tours brings you this summer's hottest all-inclusive offers to the most exciting and relaxing destinations. Punta Cana in the Dominican Republic and Cancun in the Mexican Caribbean. Call MK Tours toll-free for more information. 877-823-4226.
That's the ugly face of the Tour de France, the crashes on the Route du Tour, and they often happen near the end, and we are approaching the end now of the race today, and I'm afraid the end of the breakaway too. Just 24 seconds now. Wiggins has looked over his shoulder a couple of times. We'll be with you now right till the finish of the stage today, and it's going to come together in the next few minutes. That is now absolutely certain. 11 kilometers to go, 25 seconds the gap. Wiggins has 2 or 3 times looked over his shoulder. He knows that behind him he's not going to give up. He's going to pedal until they give up and finally decide to sweep up the race. Here they come, and still they haven't put in the final nail.
Well, nobody yet has decided to assume responsibility of the pace at the front end of the main field. There's a lot of pale blue jerseys there. Those will be the team of Gerolsteiner and also the team of Eric Zabel, Team Milram. They will wait. Everybody is playing a massive waiting game. I think we're going to have a real charge to the line here. Phil, this is an indication that yesterday's stage, not only was it a difficult stage for Alexander Vinokourov and Andreas Klöden, I think it was a very difficult stage for every member of the race peloton here at the 2007 Tour.
I absolutely agree. A lot of sprinters, even yesterday, lost 5 minutes or more. Some lost 8, like Robbie Hunter, for example. But they want now to show the true colours here before we go mountaineering tomorrow. There up ahead is the 10-kilometer bridge. 6 miles too far, I think, for Bradley Wiggins, as we now make our run in and we continue to show these magnificent chateaux. This is the Salve Chateau as we move round at the side of it and pick up the Tour de France. When are they going to make the move here now? Wiggins is dangling. The carrot is getting a little bit rough around the edges, but it's still out there at 10 kilometers to go. He looks over his shoulder again, Paul. Takes a double take.
It's
He's
as if
wondering why they're not getting any closer. He can't work it out. Why don't they come and finish me off?
Well, it's one of those, it's a very, I have to say, this is a very strange day that we've witnessed here this afternoon. This man built himself up that 17-minute advantage. Now, the riders of Tom Boonen decided to come to the front, and they are the ones who want to take responsibility. But it's as if they're going to have a mano a mano against the team of Eric Zabel, because they're lining up on the right side of the peloton.
Now it's started, 10 kilometers to go. Milram on the right in the light blue. They've lost a big lead-out man in Brett Lancaster, who retired yesterday. He would have helped Zabel today for sure. He's gone. Barlow World are in there. They've lost another lead-out man today in Degano. He's gone. And Tom Boonen has got his boys in blue right on the front. Now, we've seen this time and time again. Bowen's got his quick-step team on the front. They've done a great job, but they haven't finished off, with the exception of Ghent, which wasn't quite a routine finish.
It wasn't quite a routine finish in Ghent, because you had around about 165 riders stopped behind that massive accident at 1.5 kilometers to go. There's 3 lines of teams there trying to get themselves organized. T-Mobile on the right-hand side. In fact, you can just see the quick-step team there of Tom Boonen have just got themselves completely and utterly swamped. They haven't picked up the pace here at all. Everybody is waiting. Everybody's scared to take the responsibility too soon They all want to have a line of riders on the front end of the main field, but they don't want to start until they're absolutely certain they can take it right the way through to the finish.
Well, T-Mobile have moved 5 riders in the pink jerseys up to the right. Here he is. That's rather a nice camera shot, and what a horrible sight. We could be playing Cowboys and Indians here now as they come over the ridge. They've spotted him. There is the face on the right of Bradley Wiggins, and for the first time in nearly 5 hours, the peloton can now read his number once again. It has been a truly outstanding performance today by Wiggins. It had to come to an end. It's not quite at an end yet, but it will happen.
8.5 kilometers to go, and Bradley Wiggins very shortly will see the riders who were with him about 190 kilometers ago for the first time. There's still no one at the front end of the main field, Phil, has had the courage or the strength in their team to go to the front and start this lead out. We are so close to the finish. We're looking here at the stage victory on a stage of the Tour de France, and everybody's worried. They realize now this is the last chance for the sprinters. Fabian Cancellara is sitting there in a very dangerous position. Look how close the field is packed together. They're waiting to start, but they're reticent to start because of the fear of making a mistake.
I think that could be the case. They're throwing off all the drinking bottles there because even half a kilo is lighter on the bikes. Get rid of all the fluid now. It's all about speed now when it's called for. There's only a certain percentage get involved in the finish. The others, they're preoccupied, just trying to keep out of trouble, making sure they finish in the group, because the group always gets the same time. That's all Cancellara has to do today, finish in the group to be in yellow tomorrow. But the sprinters, they need to be at the front of the group for the points in the green jersey. Well, this is amazing. I have to say, this poor guy, Bradley Wiggins, they are making sure he is cooked and overcooked.
Well, he's been pan-fried, that's for certain, out on the course this afternoon, because we've seen temperatures in excess of 30 degrees Celsius. At the back of the pack, we've seen a very hard day in the saddle for Alexander Vinokourov, but at least when he gets home to his hotel room this afternoon, Phil, he can put a tick through stage 6. I've got through it, thank you very much.
I'm not sure that to me that might mean he's not feeling good.
Well, he's riding at the back end of the main field. Sergei Ivanov is the rider alongside him on the left-hand side. It's been a tough day for Alexander Vinokourov. Let's not forget that man has got a lot of stitches in both knees and his elbow, but he's ridden through this stage here. But will he come out and fight again tomorrow? Look at his fingers as well. Everything is patched up.
That doesn't tell me good news at all. Alexander, we know pretty well. I don't like what we've just seen there. It has been a very sticky day. There he is on the left. As the field go around him, the man who has dictated the race has just been caught at 4 miles from the finish. What an incredible race. He broke away 1 mile in. He's led for 120 miles today.
Well, there's a lot of riders. Their heart rates have dropped down this afternoon. Sergio Paolino, Olympic silver medalist from Athens, his heart rate is only beating at about 130 beats a minute. Phil, this is a very strange sprint. At the moment, they're actually playing into the hands of Robbie McEwen. McEwen likes a dangerous sprint. He likes a chaotic sprint, and they really need to pick up the pace now.
Well, we are looking down now at the whole field. We are all together 4 miles out, and it looks like we're going to have a very strange sprint. 6.4 kilometers we are from the line. The field is all together. Surely, Paul, we're not going to be enacted a slow-motion sprint. Somebody's got to go.
Somebody has to go. You can see the move coming up on the right-hand side there. There you can see at the back end of the main field, Alexander Vinokourov completely patched up. He looks more like a mummy than a professional bike rider this afternoon. He's got patches on almost every part of his body. Robbie McEwen has decided now that he wants to whip up the pace a fraction there. He's got his big man on the front to Johan van Sommeren, but here is Juan Antonio Fletcher moving up Oscar Freire. A little bit too far to the front for the moment, but they're all still waiting for the moment that this sprint is going to ignite, and it certainly hasn't yet started.
Well, that was a little bit of a tight journey through there. The car on the left seems to have blown a gasket as we continue to race towards the finish. Inside 6 kilometers to go now. Johan van Sommeren, the big workhorse, has lifted the pace. He wants to try and get some order into this sprint now. Robbie Hunter is the rider dead center in the yellow flashes on that red jersey. The Gerolsteiner boys in light blue, bringing up Robert Forster. Bad luck on the far right because that's the wrong side of the road. And that looks as though Weckman is quickly going to get across here into the pack.
Rider from Quick-Step moving up there, wants to be part of the train for Tom Boonen. Boonen has slipped down a lot. He's over on the right-hand side of the road there. Look at the little bit of movement left and right. There is still no one team has actually managed to get themselves the organisation. You know, this heat that has come down on the Tour de France this afternoon, I think has been a major source of fatigue for many of these riders.
Yep.
This looks like the slowest sprint that we've witnessed in the Tour since the start of the first road race stage to Canterbury.
We are now at 5 kilometres to go here for the whole field, and I hope Bradley Wiggins is hanging on to the shirt tails of the field. He deserves that at least. They're now going to try and enact a sprint here, but because of the slow approach, there are so many riders now will feel they have a big chance today. And again, Paul, there is no one team controlling this race.
No one's picked up the pace, no one's lined out the main field at all. The pace is not exceptionally high. We're looking down from the helicopter here, and you can see Team Mobile are trying to get themselves on the front end. It's Mailram now have moved to the front. There is Eric Zabel in about 8th position in his green jersey. I can't see Tom Boonen anywhere at all this afternoon. Yes, I can. He's over to the right-hand side. The dark blue jerseys of Quick-Step now trying to get themselves organised. Nobody wants to make a mistake. They don't want to assume control too early because they've seen themselves petering out inside the last kilometre and leaving their sprinters up to their own devices.
Well, Eric Zabel's well placed at the moment as we start to move up a little bit here now, but the T-Mobile boys are there, and there's a move on the outside now to reposition. Now, while we get this slow speed, other riders will move the men forward. 4 kilometres to go. This is not the usual race we see. This is going to be a free-for-all in the last kilometre.
A lot of riders will take risks because all of a sudden they'll think, well, I can outfox the sprinters here this afternoon. I've got a very good chance of creating the big surprise, and that's when you get accidents. Bradley Wiggins didn't stay in the main field. Congratulations from the team management. He's off the back. He can cruise to the finish. He won't get eliminated here this afternoon, but he's done a great job.
Yes, well done, Bradley Wiggins now. He's only got 4 kilometres, a mere 2 miles, bit plus, to get through to the finish. We'll go back to the front. Johan van Someren now trying to pull this race into a line. Watch out for the riders in brown. This is an Oscar Freire finish for sure. Bonen has not shown us yet. He's got the great form. McEwen has, but we think he's injured. And watch out for this newcomer on the block from Aggerturbel too, Felu.
Yeah, well, he's a good rider. He's been very prominent in the early sprints. A little move there by Fabian Wegmann moving forward in the white jersey as champion of Germany, trying to pull back there. You can see Quick-Step finally trying to get themselves organised. Over on the right-hand side there is the green jersey of Eric Zabel. In the middle there is Oscar Freire in the orange for Team Rabobank. Moving up there now on the left-hand side for the first time, we can just see Thor Hushovd, and he's on the wheel of the Kiwi, Julian Dean.
And the white jerseys off to the left of Française Desjeux. They're riding for Sébastien Chavanel, the brother of Sylvain. Different teams. Fabian Weckmuller switches off the side there now. He leaves Quick-Step again. Bobbing in and out is the green jersey of Eric Zabel. He's got his man, he thinks. Tom Bonen dead centre and in the back. In a good position, but he's been in this position before.
Freddie Rodriguez over on the right-hand side. He's got Robbie McEwen with him, but he's still waiting for the moment to move Robbie McEwen up to the front. Robbie McEwen thrives on a little bit of chaos, and I have a feeling this is going to be a very chaotic sprint. 2.5 kilometres to go. Quick-Step are in control, but not with a big, long train.
Not at all. They're trying to block the race rather than lead it up to the line here. Just watch the movement behind now. McEwen is right there. He's about 5 riders back out of our vision just now. He's searching for the wheel of Eric Zabel and Bonen, not surprisingly, as those 3 will also better watch out for the whereabouts of Thor Hushovd and Oscar Freire. This the T-Mobile boys, I think today are riding for Bernard Eisel rather than Cavendish, but I think Cavendish is in amongst it.
Well, Cavendish seems to be right up at the front there in about 9th or 10th position. The rider there from Quick-Step says, I've done my turn, I'm swinging off. The small figure you can see there, the second rider from T-Mobile is Mark Cavendish, zigzagging about, wondering which race wheel shall I follow. There's the chaos. There's nobody got control. There's a rider at the front from Team Milram now trying to stretch it out, but I've never seen, charging into the line at 1.8 kilometres to go, such a bunched up front end to a sprint so far in this Tour.
There is no organisation. Cavendish is just off on the left to our picture. His teammate dropped right out of it, but look at an early move there. Zabel wants to move. His 2 teammates here are saying, just wind it up, go, go, go. How much power have they got left?
Zabel's a little bit too far far to the front now. He's in 4th position at still outside of the 1 kilometre mark. Right on his wheel, though, is Oscar Freire. There's another move coming up. Another rider from Milram wants to try and control the pack if they can. Boonen is stuck in the middle there. He's got no teammates at all around him. He's looking for a way out. He feels at this point a little bit panicked because he's got that boxed-in feeling.
Well, underneath the trees they go. Hushoft is dead centre, and just behind at the moment, Frere is off to the right. As they come into the home straight now, they're going to have the launch for the finish. Flesch's moved off the front. Milram are still holding. Bonen's got a good wheel here, but it's going to be a hard run for the line now as Johan van Summer looks for Robbie. Where are you, Robbie, he says. McEwen is about 8-9 men back here now as the wind-up goes for the finish. Stegmans is launching the attack for the line, and also leading up there is Marcus Berghout, the big boy, in T-Mobile now. Now it's Julian Dean. Are they right? Is Julian Dean going to finish this off for New Zealand? He's got the front again, but he's gone too soon to the front. But this is a massive power result as Marcus Berghout goes for the line now. Who is going to take the sprint here? Hunter is coming through. Hunter's made a dive for the line of Robert Foster as they come to the line. Bonen is now coming. This is an absolute free-for-all, and Foster is making the final throws, but in a final dig for the line now, as this looks like Stegmans is going for the line, and he gets it. Right, it's Bonen right on the line, and he's made it at last.
Well, he was looking for that one. Philly was going all over the place, left and right through the middle. He wanted to come out. Let's just have a look at that one more time. Gerolsteiner were the boys who really sorted it out. Bonen is down there in 5th place. All of a sudden, he starts to move up. The lead-out man for Forster moves across, forcing Tom Bonen to go right the way round the outside. He comes back in to replace himself in the middle. He's got Oscar Freire challenging him there. But today, Tom Bonen had the bit between his teeth. He wanted this win. He wanted to get his green jersey back with pride. And look at Eric Zabel. He's still right up there in 2nd or 3rd position. But Tom got the win that he's been looking for a couple of days.
Well, I make it Bonen, Frere, Zabel, Chavanel from that shot, but the camera might prove me wrong. That is a very determined win. So Tom Bonen is back in green tonight, and he's got his stage win.
Well, that's what he wanted. He was looking for that. He's been very consistent in all of the sprints. It was a very strange sprint, Phil, but at the end they managed to kick up the maximum speed. Bonen, a lot of people said he doesn't have it. He hasn't got the force anymore, but I saw it yesterday on Tom Bonen when he climbed that climb. He was the best of the big men to get over that climb. Admittedly, he finished a long way back, but look at the gap there that he's got. That's a fairly good beating there of Oscar Freire. It's almost a full bicycle length. And then in 3rd place, you're right, it was Eric Zabel. But where was Robbie McEwen? I think McEwen got caught up in the little bit of turmoil a little bit further back.
Just looking down the picture, he's not in the first 6, that's for sure. He might be in this little group, but coming in, no, he's not even there. So he's a long way out of it, McEwen, today. But the Bonen sprint has it. This is his 10th win of the year. Still a little behind the 23 races he won last year. But he's on his way, and more importantly, he's back in the green jersey, and that's what he really wanted. Boy, that was a great sprint, but what a difficult sprint to know which way to dive if you were taking part in the race, because it never seemed to have an epicenter. They were going in every direction there. And Chavanel, just lowest camera, he's sprinting very, very well in this year's Tour de France. The French are enjoying their tour, I think, this year. There's the beautiful mosaics, and here comes the result. Bonen, Frere, Zabel, Chavanel. Hushoff got 5th this time out. Robbie Hunter swept away to 8th, and Feilu into 9th place. Fischer of Liquigas taking the top 10. That's the result as we see it. We will take a quick break, and then we'll have the podiums and confirmation of the results when we come back. What a sprint finish. We expected that. Bonen on top. Podiums next.
Your life doesn't have one dimension. Neither should your beer. The rewarding taste of Michelob Ultra. Perfectly balanced and made for today. Live life to the ultra.
Saab was founded by 16 aircraft engineers. Their spirit lives on in the turbocharged 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi. With all the storage space you need, an estimated 30 miles per gallon, and a starting price under $29,000, you're closer to owning a jet than you think. Saab, born from jets. Log on to Versus.com/fly to the finish for your chance to win a 2007 Saab 9.3 Sport Combi and a new Cervelo bike.
Introducing the biggest stride in sports drinks in over 30 years. New Accelerate with protein. Proven to increase endurance up to 29% over your old sports drink. So while others fade, you can stay strong. Sweat smarter. Don't fade. Accelerate.
My computer and I go everywhere together. I keep all my photos in here. Design ideas are forwarded to me from Paris, Milan, and London. I love taking underwater photos too and emailing them to my friends. With my Happy Hearts Fund, we raise money online to rebuild schools. I feel blessed to have survived the tsunami so I can help others.
HP Pavilion DV2000T with Intel Centrino Duo mobile technology.
When you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes.
Yeah, when you take it off, you're gonna like what you see.
Goes on easy, comes off clean, leaving professional paint lines.
Looking good, you got to agree.
Scotch Blue Painter's Tapes for delicate or multi-surfaces.
Go on, take it off.
This summer, Versus is bringing the stars, the stripes, the painkillers. It's gonna be a red, white, black, and blue summer.
It's just something that you're either willing to accept or you're not.
The toughest athletes are gonna dish it out and take it on the chin. The competition is on, and the cost of victory is paid. The Versus red, white, black, and blue summer. The suffering continues.
Pain's a good thing sometimes.
All summer long. There is a breed of man that competes for reasons that may not be entirely obvious. It isn't for money or for glory. They are fueled by different motivations.
I won't give up anything to anyone. I love being the best.
The athletes of the red, white, black, and blue summer. They don't play, they endure. It's not a game, it's attrition. There are no winners, there are only survivors.
That's the definition of macho right there.
This is not a sprint. This is a death march.
Oh, dear me. Very nasty tumble there.
And that is a horrible crash. And he got nailed there.
That's a huge fight-turning punch.
Tap-out finds a fighter who's got the determination, skill, the belief. He's family.
Oh, that will definitely make a lot of pain. Are you kidding me? The straight left out of nowhere.
The Versus red, white, black, and blue summer. A celebration of indomitable spirit, intestinal fortitude, and an amazing threshold for pain. The Versus red, white, black, and blue summer continues all summer long.
Rough and tumbles all round, it seems. Well, we're at Bourg-en-Bresse now. Stage 6 of the Tour de France has just finished in a massive bunch sprint. And it was a ride of nearly 200 kilometres from Semur-en-Auxois. It has been won by the brilliant Belgian former world champion Tom Bonen with a terrific lunge for the line.
I tell you what, he really wanted that victory here this afternoon, Phil. I think he won that on sheer guts and courage. He didn't have any of his teammates to help him over the last few kilometers. He had to find his way through that pack and through the chaos. A real, true sprint win this afternoon. That was no gift on the line. That was a fine battle for Tom Bonen.
Well, as we see the sprint there, let's have a look how the stage ended up here. Tom Bonen on top, a long day in the saddle. It was a go slow today again, 5 hours, 20 minutes. Oscar Freire getting second. He creeps up to that first spot. He'll get it one day. Eric Zabel third, not bad for the points leader at 37. And the sprinter from France in fourth place with Thor Hushoft, a lot of people's favourite, finishing in fifth place. Bernardi was in there in the sprint, though to Foster. Hunter went too soon and faded to eighth. Feilou still good in his first Tour de France. And a Brazilian rider there, Murillo Fischer, in the top 10. Looking further down here, Robin McEwen, for some reason, faded to 13th. I have a feeling he really is hurting at the moment. And Geraint Thomas done a great ride there as well. A few more names for you. Enrico Degano can't be there because he retired halfway through. So it looks like he would have, they've got a wrong number. Mate, somebody finished on his bike. That's the problem with those transponders. There's the top 25 for you. Well, it was a good day. I'm concerned for McEwen, but I'm not concerned about Tom Bonan anymore. He's reversed all his bad luck for the week.
Well, a lot of people said that Tom Bonan didn't have it anymore. He didn't have that ability. The one thing he did have this afternoon was guts and courage and the desire to win. I think the way he pulled his way through that sprint, Phil, was on that desire, the sheer will to win that makes people the true champion.
Drive for the green jersey. He wanted that green jersey back. Quite cleanly made that impression all day. He went for the second place points at the hotspot sprint points. And Eric Zabel, of course, won't feel too upset giving way to a younger man and clearly a much stronger man at the moment. But tomorrow we go into the Alps, and that's the first playground this year for the Stars. So we thought we'd just take a little bit of time and show you these wonderful pictures of the Alps and what awaits the riders. Paul, we don't go to Alpe d'Huez this year, but the Alps, wherever you go, are hard, long and very beautiful.
Well, it's in the Alps and in the mountains that we really write the stories of the Tour de France. We'll see some magnificent backdrops. We'll see some magnificent places where Lance Armstrong dominated the Tour de France for 7 years.
Lance Armstrong in this Tour de France, and the answer is no, there is not. Yeah, Lance winning in the Alps. He got beaten, don't forget, in the Alps too by Alessandro Valverde once, of course, Courchevel. And Valverde, we don't know how well he's going yet. If you're not in the high mountains, you're down by the beautiful lakes, the natural lakes here. And we'll be treated too to some great descents here as we dive off the big tops. We've had some good views of Mont Blanc. We'll get even closer ones, of course, over the next few days. Weather can change a lot in the Alps. The riders won't quite know what to expect, but let's hope we have some nice sunny days as well.
I'm sure we won't be treated to the rain and snow, because although it has been snowing for the last couple of days at the high spots of areas like Tignes, just recently over the last 24 hours the weather seems to have changed. We've had one of the clearest days on the Tour so far. It really is incredible, the history and the stories that were written in the Alps of riders like Fausto Coppi. Riders like Alexander Vinokourov is now wondering, what have the Alps got in store for me here this afternoon?
Vinokourov winning down in Gap there, went on to finish third in the Tour de France. Fausto Coppi as well, with the old tyres wrapped around his chest. Here's the route, as always. We'll take you first of all a quick circuit of France and Britain, as it turns out, but now we're down there. We're heading from Bourg-en-Bresse tomorrow. We start off very lowly and slowly, but when we get to the end at Le Grand Bournon, we'll have gone over the top of the Col de la Colombière. First category climb, there she is, taking us up to 1,680 metres, then a plunge down to the finish. Bourg-en-Bresse to Le Grand Bournon. Paul knows it well. He used to spend his training seasons there when he was a rider in the Tour de France.
Well, that was for skiing. That wasn't for riding bikes. But I tell you what, a lot of riders, I think, are going to get a little bit of a shock with the Col de la Colombière from this side, because normally they're going up the side that they descend. And Levi Leipheimer told me, Phil, before the start of this Tour de France, that the final 5 to 6 kilometres of the Col de la Colombière from this side are going to catch out 1 or 2 riders, especially if they've not been to check it out.
Well, Leipheimer's been and had a look in his training season, and he knows what's to be expected. What we don't know is just how good the riders are, because we've had no indication as to how strong the anticipated leaders of the Tour are. We know how good the sprinters are. We saw Tom Bonan today, but is Levi ready? Cadel Evans ready? Valverde ready? And huge question marks on Andreas Kloden and indeed Alexander Vinokourov. And as we wait for the podiums, let's just discuss that mark. He went like this, Paul Vinokourov. to me, that means I've had a bad day and I may not come out tomorrow.
I'd have to say that was a long crusade today for Alexander Vinokourov. I mean, the man was seriously battered yesterday, beaten up as if he was smashed with a baseball bat. He's got stitches in both of his knees and his elbow, and we also saw that his hands were ripped to pieces. He spent nearly the whole day today at the back end of the main field. I think that was just the end of a very long day for Alexander Vinokourov. He'll get back to the hotel tonight and he'll try to get himself back into a frame of mind to come out tomorrow, because he is a proud rider from Kazakhstan. He won't give up the Tour de France just like that.
I would agree. We both know him pretty well. We spent a lot of time with him on the bike when he was a young man, learning to be a professional cyclist, because we used to spend a lot of time in South Africa with him. He's a really nice guy and he is a tough guy, and this really, I think, is his real best chance to win the Tour. And at 33, you don't know how many more chances you get. Let's just go back to the sprint today, as the riders pull off the front, always get in the way of the forward incoming riders, but then there came the big charge to the line. Zabel in the best position, but didn't have the speed. Hunter right in the centre of the screen. No one to follow, and it was too early to be breaking the wind at the front. And then came the big surge by Big Tom. I didn't quite recognise him at first. I think he's changed his helmet from white to silver, but anyway, he hit the front and he got the result.
Well, I think that was a really good win. I think one of the best wins I've seen by Tom Boonen, because he had to look after himself. He had to sort himself out. A lot of people saying that Boonen can't win from the chaotic mass of a charging peloton, but there he proved everyone wrong.
Here we are, down to the podium. He's all washed and brushed up now, and the sprinter Tom comes on to get his stage prize. He'll be back to get his green jersey shortly. 10 wins now this year, more than 20 last year, but he started now. He's had a bit of an out period and he's now coming back onto form. It's taken him a week of the Tour de France to find the podium. He really had hoped he would be carrying yellow in Belgium. That wasn't to be. Cancellara just proving that little bit too quick in the prologue time trial.
But for him, as with all the other sprinters, Phil, they will be a little bit dark this evening, because they will look out of their hotel bedroom windows and they'll see on the horizon the Alps and the mountains. And the mountains are certainly not the friends of the sprinters.
Let's have a look at the Michelob Ultra GC. Cancellara, no change here, actually. Cloden still got his 33 seconds deficit. Pizzato came up into third yesterday and stays there. Miller holds fourth, and Oscar Freire